Radio Winchcombe. Let's say hello to my next guest. It's the one and only Mr. Matt Cardle. Hello, Matt. How are you?
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
Very well, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Thanks for calling.
No, thank you. You're back with a bang with your brand new album, Time to Be Alive. You've had an incredible reaction from the public, and this is clearly written from the heart. Would you say this is your most personal album yet?
Yeah, it really is. Something I've learned along the way, coming off a show like X Factor, I didn't feel like I could be too personal because, it's a family show. A lot of the fan base that you kind of attract from that show is like I say, it's a family show. You want to be able to express yourself, but not, overexpose yourself, I guess. And as time's gone by, I mean, look, things have gone up and down for me, and I'm always writing biographically, and some dark times have gone into this album, some happy times have gone into this album, but it's all personal experience, and I do wear my heart on my sleeve, and I do like to say how I feel and to write about things, that are very personal to me.
And I mean, you've been very open in recent times in regards to your personal battles and addictions that you've overcome. What gave you the push to kind of fight through that and come back with this incredible album? What kind of made you fight and think, do you know what, I'm going to beat this and do what I love?
I mean, initially to get over it was family and friends. There was a point where I was the last man standing to look after myself. And when that person isn't in a position to fight, then it has to be someone else. It was my brother initially, and then my family and friends, and then slowly the realization that things had got to an awful, kind of deadly place, and I needed to go and sort myself out and to fix up and turn myself around, and I did that. And while I was in the process of that, I'm sitting there thinking, if this isn't what I'm going to pour into my next album, then I don't know what is. Because as an artist or as a performer, you're always searching for content that has meaning and has weight and depth. So this, as sick as it sounds, I was kind of glad of the darkness that I went through to be able to pour it back into my music. I mean, like, you look at 90% of art, so much of it comes from a dark place. So much, whether it's poetry, music, acting, even a lot of it comes from a lot of darkness. So I had that experience, I had that opportunity to ram it back into the music, if you will.
And I've been listening to the album because I absolutely love it, and you can really get a sense by listening to the music that you come across really content and really happy where you are right now, and that comes across in your music, which is a really, really good thing. It shows that you've obviously overcome, and then you've learnt from it as well, and it's made you stronger as a person, and that really does come across. I mean that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things you can only hope to learn from these experiences. You can only hope to grow and and improve and become a rounder human for it. And if you can take that into your art as well and into your industry, then that's only a bonus.
And how amazing does it feel to be working with Sony Music again? I mean, that must just be amazing to be back working with the guys.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things I never thought. We were kind of flirting with a few labels when it came to the new album, and there was a few labels interested. Sony was, on the table, but I just never thought, after the way I left there in the first place, and the things that were essentially put in my mouth with regard to how things ended. There was many factors contributing to why we went our separate ways. But to go back there, yeah, it feels amazing. I feel like I've come home, and to be there off my own back this time. To winning that show, you are signed to Sony as an obligation. So I mean, I didn't really feel like I felt like I'd won the show. I didn't really feel like I'd got myself a record deal in a legitimate way, and to do it this time round completely legitimately, it felt better than winning the show, if I'm honest.
And a lot of people that go on the X Factor, Britain's Got Talent or The Voice, they're sometimes associated with, oh, that's the guy from the X Factor. But, you've kind of broke away from that, and you're known as a respected artist in your own right. You have the most incredible fan base, and that must make you happy that you've managed to kind of step away and you're a respected artist in your own right.
That's very sweet of you to say. I mean, one thing I will definitely agree with you on is that my fans are incredible. They're incredibly loyal. They are, they're an incredible group of people. The association thing, it was never anything. Again, this was the media kind of putting words in my mouth as soon as I'd finished the show that, I wasn't right for the show and I didn't really fit the mold and I wanted to do this. I didn't feel bad about the association. I was proud of the fact that I won the show on the biggest year they'd ever had, and this and that, one the other. I wanted to be able to stand on my own feet and to become my own artist and my own person eventually. I think they thought I was in more of a rush at the time, but it's been nearly 8 years now, and if I hadn't have done it by this point, then I would start to question things and be like, come on, it was a little bit, it was a long time ago now. Yeah. And the fact that there are people out there that consider that I've done that is amazing, and I can only thank them.
What I'd love to know, when it came to putting the album together, did you kind of have a lot of tracks and you had to narrow it down to just a few to put on the album? I mean, how does that process work? Because I wouldn't want to leave any out if I wrote those songs.
It's difficult, man. It's really difficult, and I'd spent a long time writing this, 3 years writing it, and that's a luxury. But at the end of 3 years, if you've got 6 songs, then you should have been in the studio more, or just should get a different job. So we had a lot of songs. We had a big body of work that we had to narrow down. But I mean, this is what deluxe albums are for, right?
Very true, very true. It must be, though, when it comes to writing and putting your own personal feelings onto a song and using your own life experience, then to have to maybe leave that out. I couldn't imagine being in that situation. I'd want everything to go onto that, especially if it's personal.
Yeah, there is a lot. There is a lot of that going on, to be honest, and and there's something to be said for too much information. You don't necessarily. I've written some songs that I just couldn't have put on there, but it is a bit much, or it is a bit too brutal. It's got to be a balance. You've got to find a way of balancing the album well to get what people want to hear and what you want to get across matched up. And again, that's a difficult thing, because you think they want to hear this, they want to hear one thing. It's that's why it's so nerve-wracking putting it out, because when people finally hear it, you're like, did we make the right decisions, etc., etc.
So what's next for you now then? Because we've got the album. Are you looking to tour? What's next for Matt Cardle?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be the next single will be coming out within the next couple of weeks to go to radio, and then we'll be looking to tour the album. But again, you have to leave it a little while. We've got single 3 to go, and then single 4. So there's a lot of work to be done yet.
And do you know what? I honestly mean this. It sounds incredible, and I just love that you've bounced back from everything that you've been through, and you've honestly created a masterpiece. And I absolutely love the vibe. My favourite song is actually Crazy Love.
Yeah.
Is my favourite track. I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. But so, thanks so much for joining us on Radio Winchcombe. We're going to play the single straight after the show, so thank you so much for joining us.
Real pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care, Matt. Thank you very much.
Buddy.